I'll change when they change. No, our standard is Christ, not the world. That's the way the world does it. I'll change when they change. No, no, no. Jesus always initiated. Did you ask him to come and die for your sins? No. He knew you needed it, so he came down. Do you know you hurt that person's feelings? Sometimes not. So he begins to work on your heart and convict you. God initiates. He initiated creation. He initiated redemption. If we're going to be like him, let's initiate forgiveness. One little thought about that. Forgiveness is you know, I forgive you, but don't ever do it again. You know, I want to know if you can forgive me, but you shouldn't have done this. I don't know. I've said this before. Get I'm sorry out of your vocabulary. Let other people use it. Out. Christians, we ask forgiveness and we wait a response. We take the weapon that we want to brawl with and get him back with, and we turn it around and we hand it to him and said, can you forgive me? And we wait. And understand, forgiveness is a process. A lot of it, intellectually, biblically, we can say, yes, I forgive you. But it is going to take my heart some time to catch up, because I'm hurt here. But that's understandable. Let's be mature and communicate. I want to give you a picture of some of this anger and backbiting in a scene to close with that happened in real life in Bible times. Just listen to it. Let me explain the characters involved. God is involved. A man named Moses, who happens to have a brother named Aaron, happens to have a sister named Miriam. The background is they had left a certain country where they were slaves. And they were beaten to make bricks. Now they're out in the desert. And some are wanting to go back to being a slave. It doesn't make sense, but yeah. And so people want to blame, people always want to blame the boss. But they don't always have the perspective of the boss. Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses. We would call that gossip or slander. And part of it was because of Moses' Cushite wife. He had married a Cushite. Then they began to say, well, has the Lord only spoken through Moses? Get a little pride coming out. As if to say, I can do that. Well, that's competitive. Leave it outside. Hasn't he spoken to us also? And then there's this phrase. It's fantastic. You see phrases like this in the Old Testament. It says, and the Lord heard this. They're saying, they're running Moses down behind his back, and God is listening. Verse 3 says this, now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. Now that's a statement. At once the Lord said to Moses, At once the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come out to the tent of meeting, all three of you. So all three came out. The Lord came down in a pillar of cloud, and he stood at the entrance to the tent, and then he summons Aaron and Miriam. You two, come here. When a prophet of the Lord is among you, God said, I reveal myself to him in visions. I speak to him in dreams. But this is not actually true of Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him, I speak face to face. I speak clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? I'm going to stop us there. See, he may be your servant, God, but he's our brother. He's a jerk. I mean, look at him, all this stuff. What did God just do for Moses? To Aaron and Miriam? This is the part where you talk. He told them. He confronted them. What did he confront them about?
Their gossip.
Their gossip about whom? Moses. Wouldn't you like God to have your back and bring to your attention when people were talking behind your back? I mean, can you imagine everybody going, oh, Moses, I saw Moses the other day, and there's going on. And so God says, hey, 3 of you, here. Moses, stay there. Aaron, Miriam, come closer. Daddy needs to talk to you. God hears every word out of our mouth. There's nothing you can say in secret that he does not hear. If it's not an actual word coming out of your mouth, if it's formed in your heart, he knows it. He knows a word before it hits your tongue. Do not think you can get away with it, because when someone's being faithful, God has the back. And you will be found out. Don't even try it once. God won't be mocked. You can't get away. And gratefully, he's not an ogre. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Verse 9. This is in Numbers 12. You can read later. The anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. And when the cloud lifted from the tent, there stood Miriam, leprous like snow. Her skin was white like his lights. Aaron turned towards her and saw that she had leprosy. And then he says to Moses, please, my Lord, don't hold against us the sin that we have so foolishly committed. Oh, now you want help. Now you want to be buddies. But watch Moses. Watch the maturity. Watch his heart. He has such a heart for God. He doesn't go, hey, let's let her sit there for a while and see how she likes that. And you, Aaron, you better watch out what's coming to you. Because God's got my back. Now, immediately, verse 13. So Moses cried out to the Lord, oh God, please heal her. You guys meant to harm me, but it's not even going to faze me, because I want the things of God. When Joseph's brothers show up, he finally reveals himself and he says, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. And how large were the ramifications for that? There were 7 years of plenty. And Joseph was the one wise enough to store up the grain, so that during the 7 years of famine, they fed countries. And his own family came for food. And if it wasn't for Joseph, they would have died of starvation. Oh, to be like a Moses and a Joseph, to have the perspective to go, you can mistreat me, it will hurt, but I have a heart for the things of God. When people curse you, bless them back. Not flippantly like, oh, the Lord bless you. No. A friend of mine used to say it like this, I'm not going to go down to the devil level and play your game. Because I'm a Christian, and that's not what Christians do. Well, I'm a Christian. What you want to say is, well, I want to be this type of Christian. You can't say that. The Lord replies to Moses after he cries out, if her father had spit in her face, would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days? So confine her outside the camp for 7 days, because she's unclean. It's a Old Testament thing. After that, she can be brought back. So Miriam was confined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not move on until she was brought back. Don't mess with God. Don't mess with his kids. Okay? We shake our heads because it's Sunday and we're in church. And I hope we mean it. But on Wednesday at work and Thursday in traffic, guard your heart. Whatever you say comes out of your heart. So if you need to know what's going on in your heart, just think about your words. I think about mine. And there are times that taking a kid here, kids need this or this. life, we begin to lose our patience, and life is moving. Because of technology, our lives are moving so fast. Slow it down. The tasks will get done. People are the priority. Don't walk across people to get something done. Invite them to participate with you. Now, what Paul talks about here is that's the kind of family I want to be a part of in God's family. Maybe you're not yet a part of God's family. Maybe today.